You've been with Deep Purple for more than 2 decades now. So
Almost 2 decades.
almost
yeah.
2 decades now. So
This is year 17. But who's counting?
what's it like being in year 17 with Deep Purple?
Well, it's actually it's a very enjoyable gig because I get to play a lot of solos and play rock and roll and throw in some of my ideas here and there. And it's weird joining a band because you've got your I was a fan of Deep Purple, so I came in with that. And I don't want to change Deep Purple too much, but at the same time, when you do material, you don't want it to be exactly the same thing over and over. And so it's weird walking in a delicate balance between, remembering the band the way you do initially as a fan, like the classic era of Deep Purple, remembering that, at the same time, wanting to push beyond, to something new. So that it's like I said, it's a very delicate line to walk. But the gig itself is great. Everybody plays great. Everybody on stage, we get along fantastic. If we're arguing politics or something off stage, maybe not so good. But
that kind of answers the next question I was about to ask. What is it like touring? You've been touring quite extensively for the last year or so, and
for the last 17 years, actually.
And how does that affect your relationship with the other band members?
Oh, touring. Actually, the touring part is fine. In fact, we do get along, especially considering the big difference in culture. I'm more. I grew up with a different type of touring, where we had 10-day tours constantly, but with 10 days on, 15 days off, something like that. But during the 10 days, we'd play 10 shows. And with Purple, and part of this because we've got such big rigs and we moved. In fact, we have 2 different truckloads of stuff. Some are in, like, one rig is in Russia right now, and another one's here in regular Western Europe. So even with that, we still have to have travel days. So, during a week, sometimes you only play 3 times, and that's hard for me because, I want to play, and just being gone away from my home and family and not playing is just too weird. That's the biggest difference I think we have, is that I wish we'd do lots of short tours and work intensely during that time. But then again, I'm not a singer. If you've been singing for 4.5 decades, you might feel different about it.
Yeah. So do you get time to work on any new material while you're touring here and spending a lot of time with these guys?
Oh yeah, well, I write constantly, and not for any reason, because there's at the level of underground music that I do, there's no money to be made recording. It's purely for the love of it. But I write stuff constantly. Just can't stop. It's sort of just a habit to always have little ideas going.
Awesome. Do you have any new equipment that you particularly like to use, both in live and in your songwriting?
Well, yeah, my equipment it changes and evolves. So at the moment, the most current lineup for Steve Morse Band and Deep Purple has been the Engel Steve Morse model amplifier, which has a great clean, great classic Engel sound, and the 3rd channel is my channel, where it's got like 4 different mid-range controls, so you can dial in whatever you need for lines or solos. So something to break the sound out a little bit without getting too loud. And I'm using the new Polytune pedal. I think it's fantastic. It's one of the quickest pedals, and I like the design of it. I like the display of it, and I'm just glad we finally have them. And we're trying out the Nova delay, and it's actually got more capability than I use in my setup. But even just using it for a simple delay, it's high quality with good modulation control. And my Y2D Music Man guitar is going through different changes. We're trying different. This is serial number 1 of the Steve Morse model, so it's 20-something years old. But anyway, in here we're trying different pieces of wood and different layers of wood and working on the tiny things that change the sound of a guitar.
You're using the approach with the 3 volume pedals in your board rather than just switching in and out.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
How does that help you?
Well, there's a dry amp that never changes. It's just basically a guitar plug into the amp. And then there's a second amplifier which acts like a slave. And when I push down the pedal for delay, I get delay only through the second amp. A long delay and a short delay, and the third pedal is for an octave divider.
So how does having a volume pedal compare to, say, just switching the effect in and out?
Well, first of all, you can control the amount. It's not just on or off. And secondly, you can turn it off really strategically. Like if you're playing a long note and you want to float in some delay just for that one note, you can do it and then instantly shut it off. So for me, it's the only way to go. And having a preset with here's delay and suddenly here's none is too stark and is too weird.